This is a video response to all the chemtrail debunkers I have dealt with in the past few months. These debunkers are certain that their way is the only way and that anyone who disagrees is an idiot. These debunkers are quite fascinating as they will bandy about such comments as, "You are nothing more than a paranoid conspiracy theorist, and why don't you argue your point with science?" To those comments I respond, "No, I am not," and "Okay, I will." First, let me say that there is such a thing as contrails. We have all seen them. They are a natural phenomena and quite cool to look at. But what I am arguing is that the supposed contrails of the past few years look rather suspect. I am not a conspiracy theorist, nor do I own a tinfoil hat. But what I've noticed in the skies lately has got me a little more than casually interested. With that said, let me now try to scientifically answer some of the science that the chemtrail debunkers seem to think is their ace in the hole. But before we get started, let's take a look at the definition of science. Science, noun. The observation, identification, description, experimental investigation, and theoretical explanation of a phenomena. Such activities restricted to a class of natural phenomena. Such activities applied to an object of inquiry or study. Methodological activity, discipline, or study. An activity that appears to require study and method. Knowledge, especially that gained through experience. In other words, science is observation and measurement. This is very important as we continue to watch this video. In our first example, we are told that this is the oldest known photograph of persistent contrails. The caption on the website states, quote, "This was probably taken towards the end of August 1940, when the first high-altitude gun battles were fought between the RAF and the Luftwaffe. The participants were Hawker Hurricanes and Me-109s, which were both fitted with superchargers, which enabled them to maneuver and fight around 27,000 feet. The photo is taken over St. Paul's Cathedral, London. Apologies for the poor state of the picture, but who knows how many times this picture has been copied." End quote. To dissect this photo, let's ask ourselves some very important and basic questions. First off, who? Who is it that took this picture? Why is there no photo credit? Secondly, what? What do we see? Or better yet, what don't we see? Where are the planes? Do these planes even make those kind of aerial maneuvers? Could these trails have been made by anti-aircraft artillery? Third, where? Where was this picture taken? Is that really the top of St. Paul's Cathedral? This does not look like the top of St. Paul's Cathedral to me, and you will shortly see that. Again, where are the planes? 4. When? When was this photo taken? Where is there a date or a timestamp? For all we know, this may not have been taken during the London raid. 5. Why? Why is the top of St. Paul's Cathedral not obscured by smoke from all the fires burning? Why do we not see any smoke in the sky? 6. How? How can we see such clear, persistent contrails if the sky was filled with smoke from burning buildings caused by 10,000 bombs? And finally, to add insult to injury, the gentleman who posted this photograph and description had this to say about me, quote, "There is a barrack room lawyer who has claimed the above picture to be fake. If so, then so is this." By the looks of this photograph, it definitely is fake. It looks like his daughter did it. In fact, my daughter could do a better job than that. Alright, enough of the fallacies. Let's start dealing with facts. I got a couple of photographs here that show the St. Paul's Cathedral, and you can see that it is undoubtedly a lot different and a lot better than the photograph that we have seen before. Here is the quote from the photographs that I have. It's from the Daily Mail newspaper, dated Tuesday, December 31st, 1940, and the caption reads, "This edition of the Daily Mail had on its front page a photograph by Herbert Mason of the dome of St. Paul's Cathedral, showing through the smoke from the fires resulting from the severe raid on the city of the night of 29 December 1940. It was captioned as 'War's Greatest Picture.' The image of St. Paul's is undoubtedly now the most well-known of the Blitz. It suggests that even the survival of St. Paul's had become a symbol of defiance." Next, I have a portion of a film from my 16mm film library. It is distributed by Time Life Films, and it shows the night of the Great Raid, London. As we can see from the film footage, there is no way that there could be persistent contrails seen through all the smoke.
Wren's masterpiece of St. Paul's, which rose out of the ashes of the Great Fire, was threatened by a similar holocaust 3 centuries later. On the night of Sunday, December the 29th, 1940, the Germans flew over the city in force, dropping an estimated 10,000 high-explosive and incendiary bombs. The city's nightmare of destruction by fire was being reenacted, and like 3 centuries before, buildings were dynamited in a desperate attempt to check the spreading fires. At the height of the attack, the cathedral was ringed by fire. Burning buildings surrounded it on every side, and it was touch and go whether the flames would spread to the cathedral roofs. In spite of the 28 incendiaries which fell on St. Paul's alone, and the failure of the cathedral water pumps, the building was miraculously saved. But all around was devastation, the sad remnants of once great and historic buildings.
In our second example, we see supposed contrails caused by the propeller of a B-17, but on closer inspection we can see many problems. First off, the J pattern of the trail. This is caused by only one blade of the tri-tip prop. Question: why don't the other 2 blades generate contrails? Secondly, the propeller contrails are horizontal to the propeller and perpendicular to the travel of the aircraft. But my question is, wouldn't the propeller contrails have a linear path to them and be strung out in a twisted corkscrew pattern? As a side note, if there were 3 contrails generated by all 3 blades, wouldn't there be a braided pattern to them? But if you look at the photograph, why are the propeller contrails so distinct? Wouldn't they be scattered by the prop wash? Now here is a photograph of a true contrail. As you'll notice, there are multiple trails, they have a linear braided pattern, and they are being dissipated by the prop wash. And finally, we have this photographic gem that explains the contrail or vortex clouds that were generated by the control movements of an aircraft flying at high altitude. As I read this description, please remember what I said at the top of this video concerning the definition of science, which is observation and measurement. Quote, "Here we see the strange vortex clouds generated by control movements. The aircraft is flying by autopilot along its pre-designated route and subject to corrections by the autopilot. The ailerons duck into the airflow and start up vortices. These are spin stabilized and follow the deflected air and take a while to spin to a stop. Ice is precipitated out of the negative 40 degrees centigrade water vapor in the vortex vacua. Altogether an intriguing visual phenomenon." Yeah, right.